Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Live Connect. Tom Vasel Dice Tower. Alrighty, well, I'm a little less stressed than I was a week ago when I did this, because a week ago I was like, the Kickstarter's in 24 hours. Well, the Kickstarter now is 6 days from now. It looks like we might reach the next stretch goal. That'd be really cool. If we reach it here, then Kenny can come in and air horn me, but he's not listening to this, so I'm not worried about it. Because we're at 249, 300. I doubt we'll make 700 an hour, but that would be cool. And then we'll have Trey Parker on as one of our top 10 guests. And then, of course, other cool things that are coming up. I'm really excited, folks, about the future. I always am excited to see what we can do. We can do some neat things. Look what I got here. So this is a new little device we got for my replacement for the component drops. And just like a little gimbal. Just a little thing here. Yeah, it's hard to see, but like you can move around, look at stuff, and it just keeps it smoother. So hopefully that will help with those. So we're testing that out this week. And there we go. Put it away. Like a little device here. I like it. So that's the kind of thing that we're working on, always trying to get things better. Chris Yee is here now, just showed up today for his first day to help us with video editing. Our top 100 lists are done, and he is helping put those in position. So top 10 start a week from today. Oh, top 100s. Oh, did something happen here? Some issues in audio. Is it working now? So everything shows fine from my end of things. Oh, it's using the MacBook Pro. How's that audio? That should be better audio. Okay. Was I using my MacBook Pro audio this morning? I might have been. No, Mike was doing it. Anyhow, let me know if it keeps refreshing and I'm going double speed. It's like I'm 1.5 speed. Weird. Well, let me see. Am I fixed now? Oh, it is fixed. Well, thanks, everybody. Sorry about that. Well, if you missed what I was saying, I was talking about a new little gimbal thing that we got here. I also mentioned the Dice Tower Kickstarter because I don't want that to get lost in the ether. So the Dice Tower Kickstarter, we are still running. It is at currently 249.3. And if we get to 250 during this, I don't know what I'll do. But I got to be careful because I don't want people artificially inflating the number, then decreasing it. That's not really cool, folks, when you do that sort of thing, because that's not real. Alrighty, so anyway, I'm answering questions here. And just ask questions and I'll try to answer them. Was last week fun for you guys? Oh, yeah, sure. Now, I'll tell you what. At the end of every day when we do live streaming, we are exhausted. It's really tiring because when you are on, even like this hour that I'm doing here, I am on the whole time. I'm talking the whole time. When you have a conversation with people, you talk, and then you pause and listen to them. Well, this, I don't ever pause. I just keep talking. And you might think, Tom, that's what you want. Well, maybe, but not really. And so when we play games, we have to keep talking, otherwise it gets really boring. So just the whole thing is draining, and then we're learning new games and things like that. So it was very fun, but very draining. Let's see here. We'll be doing our top 10 anticipated games in a few weeks. Have I watched WandaVision yet? Yes, of course. I like having some sort of weekly thing to watch with the family. And so right now, it's WandaVision. We watched the first 2 episodes on Friday. We'll watch the next episode this coming Friday. I thought it was cool. I liked it. And I'm not going to be spoiling it, so don't worry. But it's like Lost. It gave me those feelings like, ooh, mysteries. But I feel very confident that unlike Lost, that Disney will answer those questions. My wife loves 50s and 60s sitcoms, so she loved that part of it. I'm looking forward to, I believe, episode 3 is a 70s sitcom, so I'm looking forward to seeing as it goes throughout the years. My kids are on it, but they love the superhero stuff, so we'll see. Let's see what else we got here. My wife just gave birth to our second child. I need advice on a transition from 1 to 2 children. Just make sure your first child realizes that you still love them, because it's really easy. And it will especially come from visitors and guests or other people who will say, aren't you glad you have a new sister and brother? Aren't you glad you have a new sister and brother? Aren't you glad? And they just keep rubbing that into the thing. And it's like, oh. And it's easy to, sometimes the first one can seem like forgotten with the joy of the new one. Am I an NFL fan? Not particularly. I've always rooted for the Dolphins, which when I moved here to Miami, I was like, yay. But I root for them as in, woo, I don't know a single person on the team. I don't even know what their score is. I don't know if they're in the playoffs. I'm assuming not, because I would have heard about it probably. But I find football to be an interesting sport. If I watch it, I understand what's going on. I understand the rules of football, but I just don't really care that strongly about it. Have I read the Power Mage trilogy? I don't believe so. I hope you don't get too much garbage for reading rule books on stream. Not too much. It's just, it's kind of a thing I think that people don't realize, that it's kind of like, oh, okay, we get it. You know, you make rules mistakes, but when you're doing it that one, I read them. I did them on the stream because that's how I do learn a new game. Like, we actually played games again on Saturday, and I did it again on Saturday, just we weren't on stream. So we will not do that very often. We'll usually try to know the rules of a game before we play it on stream, but sometimes that's just the way it is. Try teaching virtually. I'm on camera and video from 9 to 3. I get draining. Okay, yes, I would like to be very clear that I think that what we do pales to what teachers do, and big applause for me to all teachers, especially during this very trying time. I don't know how y'all are doing it, especially those of you who have dual, where you have live classes and online. That's got to be super tough. I miss movie theaters. What's your favorite movie theater snack? Jalapeno poppers. Yesterday's your birthday? Well, happy birthday. Are you excited for the Dice Tower Werewolf deck? Well, yes. Can you explain more about it? It's just it's a 30-card deck, so you can play werewolf with it. Has a bunch of villagers and some werewolves, and it just has some of the roles that I like using. There's a Sasquatch in it, the Invisible Man, has the Seer, the Hunter, and the Bodyguard. So you can play a normal game of werewolf, but with some more. But it can be mixed with the Ultimate Werewolf cards, so that's kind of a fun thing too. So you can mix up the roles. Any teaser about the format of the upcoming Top 100? Close to last year? Yeah, close to last year. We're not going to deviate from the plan too much, except it's going to be virtual. We're going to do it virtually, which is how we've been doing all our top 10s for the past few months. Are you excited about the change to Allure of the Seas and longer cruise? Yes, so if you don't know what we're talking about, that's the Dice Tower cruise next year is going to be a slightly longer cruise. I think one more day, which is on a cruise is amazing. One more day! And I feel like one more day should be perfect because I went on a week cruise several years ago, and then we did the Dice Tower cruises, and the week cruise, when we were done, I felt great. We were done. The Dice Tower cruise, I always felt like, man, I wish it was one more day. So I feel like it will be great. And the bigger ship is cool. Who's easier to teach, Mike or Roy? I think they're both easy. They're not too bad to teach games at all. They pick up games both very quickly. Any chance of a top 100 books list? That would take a lot of work on my part. But I'm not opposed to doing that at some point. But I would have to, I'd have to go through. I would probably forget books that I've read in my life. You know, there's so many books that I've read. There would be a lot of youth fiction on there for sure. Because even now, some of my favorite stuff is stuff I read when I was a kid. Did you find out who artificially inflated Kickstarter to get the horn blown early? Oh yeah, for sure. We can see that, just so you all know. If you back something, if you increase your thing and then drop out, that is not a hidden thing that you can do. The people who run the Kickstarter can see all that information. When casting, do you feel like you have to give 110% to make sure the energy comes through the camera? Yeah, I think so. You have to be on. You really do. But you just have to treat the camera as if they're a fourth person, an ADD fourth person, because they always want attention. So, like right now, I don't feel like I'm alone. I feel like I'm with an audience, or at least a few people who are sitting right there and looking at me, and I'm talking to them. Have you ever thought about doing the Dice Tower cruise in the summer? Teachers can't do it in February. I get it, and I understand that, but there's no time that we can do it where everyone can be involved, and it's way better for us to pick a month where not everyone can, because then we get way cheaper prices. Also, it would be much, much hotter in the summer and much more crowded, and it just, everything works out better for us in February. I know not everyone can do it because of that, and I'm so sorry for that, but it's just the best way to do it. Hi, Tom. Do you think the sellout of Lost Ruins of Karnak everywhere is justified? I don't actually understand that question. If it sold out everywhere, they did a good job marketing it, and they printed fewer than they thought they would sell, but I never get upset about companies like that, because if you overprint, to be able to guess exactly how many will sell is very problematic. So yes, it's justified. I don't know what Lupin is. Have you ever tried D&D? Yes. If yes, do you have any funny stories from your campaigns? No, because I haven't played a ton of D&D. I play different things. We did a. I used to. So what I used to do is I used to run Heroes Unlimited. The problem now, Heroes Unlimited from Palladium Books. Palladium Books does not actually tell you how to play their games. It's really weird to me, and it took me the longest time to figure that out. Like Palladium Books, Heroes Unlimited is a great system. I bought every book for it for a while, and there's so many powers. Any superhero power you can think of, they have it there. They tell you how much damage the powers do. They tell you how they level up. They're really awesome. They're really cool. And then they don't tell you how to play the game. Literally, you get the Heroes Unlimited book, it tells you how to do a driving scenario. It tells you... But it doesn't tell you why you need percentage dice for things. It doesn't tell you why you have these stats, what those stats even mean. It's really crazy. So I just made it all up. I didn't know, so I just made stuff up. We used 30-sided dice. Anyhow, I didn't buy any source books for Palladium. I just bought all those other books. So I would go to the local mall and get a map of the mall there. You know, every mall, the malls used to have printed maps. I don't know if they do that anymore. And then the bad guys would attack the mall. And then the superheroes would come in. And my superheroes were always like, knock the door down, do whatever they could. And one of them managed to get hold of C4 and blew up half the mall, which was always very humorous. We always reminded him of that fact. What was the result of the 2020 Kickstarter stretch goal? Review of a live play as voted by you. You know what? I just realized the other day that we actually did not do that, so we will be setting that up to play. I will be taking, of course, the option to veto it, because I'm not going to play a crass game. I'm not going to play an overly complex game that we can't figure out. There's going to be a limit. It's got to be the type of game that we would play on the Dice Tower. That being said, I will be scheduling that after this Kickstarter ends. What's a good alternative for Time Stories? I enjoyed the story-driven game, but the grand plot was very disappointing. Well, there's Seventh Continent. There's Chronicles of Crime. Chronicles of Crime doesn't have a grand overall plot, so that's kind of nice. Well, there's the Centerville, the Archie one has a little bit of an overall plot. Do you read comics? I do. I read Marvel comics, but I also read... indie comics. Right now, I'm currently reading through Lock and Key. Do publishers approach Dice Tower for special add-ons, or do you have to track them down? It's beyond impressive how many games have Dice Tower composed your Kickstarter. Some of them approach me, but for the most part, I track it all down, which is an immense amount of work. But, you know, I'm very thankful that the publishers do work with us. Will you be watching any PortalCon this weekend? Yeah, we're going to do a live reaction video to Ignacio's stuff. That will be at 9 Eastern Time on Saturday morning. Do I think the Come On animated collection is going to be like Funkoverse and Unmatched? I don't know. It's really hard to tell. I feel like it might be more closer to the Marvel United, but that's just because that's what it looks like. I don't know. I mean, it's interesting. It's a weird dichotomy, I think, that they put Looney Tunes and then they put Teen Titans Go, because they're very different audiences. Looney Tunes tends to trend older. Teen Titans Go tends to trend younger. And I'm still not sure why the Scooby-Doo game was thrown in that mix, because it has nothing to do with the other two games. But let's see here. More intrigued by the Lord of the Rings show on Amazon or the Wheel of Time show on Amazon? Whew. So this is a tough one for me. So Lord of the Rings, I'm kind of interested in it, but the movies are already really good. What are they going to do different? It's going to be the same story, right? They're just going to show things slightly differently. I don't know. And are they going to have the budget that the movies did? And the movies are so good. I love those movies. I just can't. They're going to have to work really hard to top that. Wheel of Time is interesting. I would like to see a very condensed version of Wheel of Time, and I think casting is going to be really critical. A lot of the characters in Wheel of Time came off somewhat negative to me. Like, and this just might be me, but like Robert Jordan wrote a lot of the women I felt as shrewish, like just constantly yelling about men, and then the men as oafish oft times when it came to women. There was just this constant gender war, but just this constant, like, men are stupid, women don't know what they're talking about. Men, and I don't know, I just got weary of reading that. I like the books. Also, there's just way too many characters. They would need to cut out dozens and dozens of characters from the book. And I would hope that they would, I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, I would watch it for sure. But that I wouldn't mind if they softened a few of the characters slightly, because I feel like they might get annoying on screen. Let's see. We'll do more crossover episodes as the year goes by with various people. That's my goal. I'm not going to say who or with what, because I don't have them all planned out. But we'll try to do stuff as time goes by. My cousin Haley Vasel says hi. I don't think I have a cousin named Haley. I have a cousin named Steven. I don't even know. Maybe I do have a cousin named Haley. I don't know. I don't know my cousins very well, folks. Shores of Tripoli look really cool. You'll get a review of that maybe in 2 weeks. There's a lot of games I need to review. I got piles all over the place. Have you heard about Be the Man? It's a toy where you shoot marbles at each other. That doesn't sound safe. Oh. Duh. Yes, sorry. I actually have these. I bought these for me and my son. They're like little toys that shoot marbles at each other, not at the other player. They just shoot them across the floor and stuff like that. They're okay. They're not that great. And I don't know. We played them for a while, but they weren't that interesting, we found. A lot of that stuff is not that interesting when you play through it. All right, let's keep going here. Will the Werewolf deck on the Kickstarter have the QR to work with the newest Ultimate Edition of Werewolf? I don't know, actually. I would have to ask Ted that. I'm not sure. The Brothers Murph played their 200 board game collection in a week. Huh. Did they not sleep? 200 games times 2 hours each on average. That's 400 hours, but there's more than... They had to play some of them really fast, I would guess. How long would it take to play the Dice Tower library? Months, I would imagine. I mean, There's like 2,000 games. An average of 2 hours seems very legitimate for those games. So that's 4,000 hours. 40 hours a week. That's 100 weeks. That's 2 years. I wouldn't try something like that. But more kudos to the Brothers Murph for doing it. Could I rank my top 10 favorite MCU movies? Well, my favorite is, of course, the combination of Infinity War and Endgame. That's my favorite. So I'll say that as one, because it's really one movie split. My second favorite is Thor Ragnarok, for sure. Third favorite is probably Guardians of the Galaxy. Then 4 is likely The Avengers. You can see where this is going. I'm a very big ensemble guy. 5 would be Captain America Civil War. Oh, Winter Soldier was really good, though. Might be Winter Soldier. 5 would be Winter Soldier, then 6, Civil War. 7, Avengers 2. All right, so we did all the ensemble pictures, right? Guardians of the Galaxy 2 I like a lot, but it probably wouldn't make the top 10. 7 would probably be Captain America. I really like that one. That puts all 3 Captain Americas in my favorites. Then I would pick... I really like Ant-Man, the first one. I like both of them, but I really like the first one. Spider-Man and Far From Home are both good too. Doctor Strange I liked. Iron Man's, the Thors, Captain Marvel. I'll just end there. And maybe I would put, yeah, Ant-Man for sure. I really like Ant-Man. And then probably Doctor Strange. Is that 10? It feels like 10. Do I have a favorite pickle? Oh, yeah. Your typical drugstore pickle. By that, they don't do this much anymore. Drugstores used to have a big barrel with dill pickles in it, and they would sit there and just be marinated, and you get a pickle out of that barrel. And it wasn't just drugstores, I guess. Like the markets had them and stuff. This is not a very common thing these days, but that is my favorite pickle. Does it drive you nuts when expansions don't perfectly match the base game, such as backs of the Carcassonne tiles being a slightly different color? No, that doesn't bother me at all, actually. It's not that big of a deal. It only matters if it's like a card's in my hand and you're going to be picking one to take or something like that. But if it's like in a deck of cards and we're just drawing from the deck anyway, I'm not going to sit there and go, oh, the top card is an expansion card. Therefore, I now know that it's an expansion card and whatever. I just don't think it's that big of a deal. It's very difficult to get in a matchup. I have a lot of leeway for companies who make, it's not necessarily their mistake, it's the printer's mistake. Sometimes the printer can't match it up perfectly, or they had to switch printers. There's a lot of reasons for it. I'm not trying to justify it per se, but I understand why it happens. If we saw your rankings of your top 100 of all time, would they be in descending order? 10, 9.5, or other outliers? Oh, it would probably be outliers, but it would be, I mean, the top 20 or 30 are games I'm giving a 10 to. And then 9.5s and then 9s. There's almost no game in my top 100 that's not at least a 9 at this point. Can I tell you the roles in the werewolf deck for the Kickstarter? Well, like I said, I know it is off the top of my head. There's Hunter, Seer, Bodyguard. There's werewolves, Alpha Wolf, and Villagers. There's the Seer, Bodyguard, Hunter, Frankenstein's Monster, Old Woman, Ghost, Chupacabra, Sasquatch. I think that's what I got. There might be some more. I'm very happy you might be bringing Tales Hard to the podcast. What's your favorite tale? Oh, I don't know. But you know what? No one sent us one yet. I'm still waiting. I haven't got a single one. So we'll have to talk about it more to get some more sent in. You think you have your Dune Imperial minis painted when you get them? I've been debating ordering the minis because I really hate painting. You think it's worth getting if they're left gray? Are they all gray? I haven't really looked at them yet, but I'm looking forward to getting them. No, we're doing a top 10 anticipated games. It's just going to come up a little bit later. Top 3 professional wrestlers you would play board games with? I don't know. It depends how they are in their non-persona life. I don't know what they are like that. I mean, like Hulk Hogan seemed like he wasn't too far off from his thing, but some of them seem to be very different off camera, like Mick Foley, and you know, a few of them just seem to be very different. So I wouldn't have any preference. Would I still call Castle of Burgundy the burger game? No, I don't think I do. That was like a joke I did for a little while, and it really didn't last very long, so no. Lincoln Logs or Tinker Toys? Interesting. Tinker Toys are better, and I'll tell you why. Lincoln Logs are cool, but you basically can build a log cabin with them, or a fort, and you're done. But I'll jump on a limb and say, when I was a kid, I liked Constructs. That's Construx. Those were awesome, and I wish they were still around. What happened to the top 10 board game apps of 2020? I couldn't do it. I went to look for board game apps from 2020. I could not find a definitive list anywhere to figure it out. I knew my top. I knew it was like Root, Terraforming Mars. And then I couldn't find more, so I was like, there's my top 2. And there was a few others that came out, but I couldn't put together a top 10 list. What are your top 10 games that aren't for you, missing the spark, but you should love? That would be an interesting list to do. I'm not going to do it now. But I get what you're saying. They're like games that feel like they're really good, but I don't know. That's interesting. What are your thoughts on having a board game dinner as well? Maybe, but okay, so I cannot and will not give my entire life to the Dice Tower. I really work hard in Dice Tower. I think you all know that. It is a fantastic thing, and I'm glad to be here, and we've done our best. We've done the Dice Tower daily chats. We've done stuff, but there comes a point where I need to make sure my family still gets me. Dinner's one of those things. And I already take off and leave my family a lot for Dice Tower and stuff, and everyone seems cool with that, and it's good. But I daren't take it any farther. So that's kind of why. I gotta be careful in that regard. How's Amy doing at college? Really well, I think. She's having lots of fun. I don't know if fun is the word she would use for it, but she does enjoy college. My wife is obsessed with Animal Crossing on the Switch. Is there a current video game obsession in your household? It's half Animal Crossing, half Minecraft. Let me see here. And I apologize again if you're just watching. Oh, I think I'm back in because the comments came up here. Alrighty. Well, folks, that was, once again, Comcast's fault. Man, and we didn't have any problems with Comcast all last week. And in fact, last week, AT&T completely shut down. AT&T shut down like in all South Florida. And I said, I'm glad we have Comcast at the studio. That was the first time I said that. All right, folks. Well, I have no questions. If you sent your questions and they all disappeared, so, oh no, they didn't. But a lot of them disappeared. So you're going to have to answer them again. Because if you ask a question, I have missed so many things here. How's your playing of Outer Worlds going? I haven't played it for a while because I got so caught up in playing Phoenix, and I've been just playing that one so much more. Let's see. And now people are talking about the crash. Maybe the air horn. Did we fund? Did that happen? I doubt that. That would be a good reason to be like, oh, well, then it's not a problem. No, we did not. I mean, we funded, but I mean, did we hit that next stretch goal? Alrighty. BGG is their artist series. Just wondering about Kickstarter reward level where you maybe the artists do a post related to a board game but throw dice tower or dice people in it. Maybe. I don't know about how those poster things work. I think they're really cool. The newest series they're doing is fantastic, but I don't know if that would have enough people liking it. Alrighty, someone check on Tom to see if he's okay. Catching all right, let's see here. I got to just get back to where people talking about Frozen and Frozen 2. And I'm back. All right, here we go. So, again, if you ask questions and I miss them, I apologize. What city would you like to see get a board game theme? Do not care. Don't care. I mean, it doesn't matter. How many cities is there a board game around where it makes me think of that city? And the answer is very few. Have I been to Lofty Pursuits Candy Shop? I don't think so. I'm not even sure what that is. Lofty Pursuits Candy. Where is it? Oh, it's in Tallahassee? No, then I have not. I very rarely go to Tallahassee. It's the only reason I would stop in Tallahassee would be like on the way to visit my kids in college, and that hasn't happened. So, no. Alrighty. My 9-year-old loves Zelda Breath of the Wild and is curious about Phoenix Rising. Is there any content in the game that wouldn't be kid-friendly? Not particularly. There is definitely, I think twice now, I've noticed innuendo. I think it would go over kids' heads, probably, but that would be it. They also talk about, like the main character is talks about that, you know, an eagle comes and eats his liver every day, which actually happened in the Greek mythology. But I mean, the way the game plays and all that stuff, it's pretty much the same. What's my favorite sandwich? That's a tough call, but almost always I'll say the Reuben. I know I have a friend who works for the Marlins. Oh, I have a friend who's the chef for the Marlins. But yeah, I see you wear a Marlins hat from time to time. Do you follow any other sports? I don't follow any sports anymore. I used to follow baseball very religiously. But I would be hard-pressed at any given point to tell you who's in any of the playoffs / World Series / Super Bowl, etc. I mean, people talk about that stuff, so it's there. You know, it's not like that stuff disappears completely from my radar, but I don't follow any of it. It's just not that interesting to me. And I could follow it. I could be really involved with it, but then I would not follow board games. I can only follow so many things. Dune Imperium is coming with minis in a separate box instead of putting it in the base box. Will this be a staple in the industry moving forward? I love questions like this. Why? What makes you think just because one company did it, it will now be a staple? No, I don't think so. I think they were just trying to, sell a cheap game and then add, if you want the miniatures in, you can get them somewhere else. I don't think that this will be a staple, although Kickstarter has been doing that occasionally where they'll have extra minis in another box. So, but no, not a staple. I don't think so. Any thoughts on the aliens and other glorious day in the core? Is there a review coming? Man alive. People ask us like every Q&A. I don't like putting miniatures together, so I may do it, I may not, but highly unlikely. How quickly would you switch to Google Fiber if it became available in Homestead? I would do it yesterday. What is your favorite toy? What is your kid's favorite toy in your house? Well, I don't know about that. It's a Switch for sure. But my wife was just lamenting this yesterday. She said no one plays with toys in this house anymore. Even my son barely plays with toys. You think he would play more with them? He just doesn't. He would rather, if he has free time and we don't let him on electronics, he'll draw. He'll create things out of paper and stuff. That's fine. I'm about to get rid of all the toys from the house, honestly. Have you ever played a new game and almost immediately regretted it? I don't know if I regret it. I think you mean, do I not like a new game? But I doubt, very rarely do I regret it. How do I live in Florida after my time abroad in Korea? That's a fairly lengthy story, but I do answer it in the history of the Dice Tower. So if you go check that out, I talk about it there. A lot of questions people were asking me, I've answered earlier in the show, and I apologize about that. Just keep that in mind. Yeah, let me see. Are the Sheriff and Nine Cam cards in the Kickstarter compatible with the older version of the game? I don't know. I know they're made for the new version. What's your least favorite type of question? And why is it these types of questions that presuppose the answer? I know you're trying to be funny here, but my least favorite type of question are people who try to entrap you with a question. That happens, kids did it at school all the time, and then it happens here where people are asking you a question where they're hoping your answer will be inflammatory in some manner or fashion. The Dice Tower Meeples art for the playmat's awesome. Will we be able to add one through Pledge Manager after the Kickstarter? Probably. What's my most played game in 2020? I don't know, actually. Probably Etherfields. If we go by time, it's Etherfields. Lofty Pursuit has great candy making videos on YouTube. Fun to watch. That does sound fun to watch. I just realized my computer's not plugged in. There we go. Fix that. By the way, folks, one question I'm not answering at all at this point is con questions. The answer, I should open up each Q&A and go, I don't know. Everyone's always like, what do you think will happen? I don't know. What about this con? I don't know. How many cons will happen this year? I don't know. I really don't know. I really don't. We just take it one day at a time. Do you have a date for the top 100? Yes, Monday from a week from today. Did I order any sauces from the Pepper Palace after my recommendation? Pepper Palace. I don't know that I did or not, actually. No, I did not. I would remember of ordering from this website. I don't even know if I went. Did I go to this website? I may have easily forgotten it. That stuff looks good. My wife said no more sauces for a while. Wait, wasn't I there? I was in this store. Where was I? Where did I go? I saw this store. I was with my wife. It's at the Dolphin Mall. Definitely, I saw this at the Dolphin Mall. Is that right? And we walked in, and I said, find a store. Let me see. If I'm right here. Come on, go over to Florida. That's not Florida. That's Cuba. There's one in Miami. Let's zoom in. Pepper Palace, Dolphin Mall. Aha. I thought I saw it there. Yeah, I walked in with my wife, and we were rushing through the mall. I was looking for a suit for my daughter's wedding. And I saw a hot sauce store, and I was like, we got to go in. So we went in, and my wife said, what do you want to get? And I was surprised because she had just recently told me that we should not get more sauces till we use the ones we had. And I remembered that, and I said, remind her what she said, and said, I'll come back later, but let me go through some of the sauces I have now. I've recently got a bunch of sauces off the internet, some delicious sauces, some mango cherry salsa, but I got some pickle salsa, which I wasn't sure on, but I really like it, but it's kind of heftily spicy too. All right, well, that was a longer question than you probably expected me to answer. What's your initial rating for After the Empire? I typically have the same taste as Mike, and he didn't seem to be enjoying it much, but I'll tell you what, I really like it. What's my initial rating? Find out, wait for the review, but I really like it. What are your thoughts on the Tainted Grail video game since you like Slay the Spire? Tainted Grail's a board game. I didn't know there was a video game version of it. What party game is the most fun without participating? Oh, that's interesting. There's a lot of party games that are fun to play. Some that are... Time's Up's pretty fun just to watch. Any game with stuff like that, reverse charades, is a hilarious game to watch and not participate in. Oh, this is something we was talking about the other day. Someone said, what's the goal of getting Will Wheaton on the Dice Tower? People ask us a lot, like, you should have more celebrities on the show. Well, sure, but we have to also get them to agree to be on the show, which means we need to figure out how to get in touch with them. They may have fees. I'm not saying any of this is the case with Mr. Wheaton or all, but I'm saying that don't think we don't try to do this sort of thing. It's just not always so easy. Like, well, if the Kickstarter just made so and such, then you'd be able to pull this off. So that's all. But I saw people like, oh, you should have more celebrities on the show. Why? I know like a couple minor celebrities, maybe at best. Do you want to meet Smoker? I do not. Who are you going to invite as special guest this year? I don't know. I haven't decided yet. Probably people who don't invite themselves, at least. What's my favorite TV show set in Florida, Miami? Joe Exotic? No, I don't know. I think it's neat when you see that, but almost every show that's set in Miami shows parts of Miami I've never seen. It's like downtown, Little Havana. I never go there. I never go downtown Miami, period, just because I can't afford to for the most part. If they show the Everglades, I might be like, ooh, I saw that. So... Could the video that Roy did, noting who all the dice guys represent in the Kickstarter artwork, be posted to YouTube? Yeah, we might move it to YouTube at some point. What do I feel about homebrew races in TAI 4th edition? I would be really opposed to that. There is no way you're going to be able to play test a homebrew one. You'd have to make the race. You'd have to have special technology cards. You would have to have your flagship and the stuff. And there's already so much in the game. And I would sit there thinking, really? You can't find a race out of these 20 different races out there? You got to make your own? I just would not be a big fan of that. I understand homebrew stuff. People can do what they want, you know. But I wouldn't want to play with homebrew unless we were getting bored with the regular stuff. All right, K'NEX, Lego, or Erector set? No, not Erector set. That's too metally. K'NEX is okay. I would pick Lego over K'NEX, I think. Have you bought a new game and regretted it when you get home? No, not particularly. Do you think it'd be possible to do a top 10 underrated hidden gems for a year? Well, we do that a little bit. That's why we talk about our top 10 surprises at the end of each year. Let's see here. Let's see. The least represented animal in board gaming. Didn't I do a top 10 list on this one time or on one of our board game breakfasts? I think I did. I want to say I put platypus there. Not a lot of games talk about the lowly platypus. What's my favorite chip flavor? Probably salt and vinegar, but I really like pickled chips a lot. When I was a kid, there used to be this truck called, was it Goods, right? Yeah, it was Goods. No, Charles. Sorry, Charles. Charles Chips. So Charles Chips was this really cool thing. If you lived in Pennsylvania, maybe New Jersey, and some other states in that area, Charles Chips were like trucks. They were delivery trucks, but they would deliver the chips to you. And they came in big cans. Inside the can was a big bag, but like a can, like a big giant can. And they had all kinds of cool flavors. I loved Charles Chips. And I really like these ketchup ones. I don't know what it is. They were ruffled type chips with ketchup. As a side note, even though it's getting better, there is no doubt in my mind that Ohio, New Jersey, Pennsylvania area have the best potato chips in the world. And while Lay's has improved slightly as time goes by, anybody who buys Lay's in Pennsylvania is making the wrong choice because there are so many local ones. There is Utz, Goods, Hers, King's. There's so many. The pretzels, the potato chips. Pennsylvania is king when it comes to that. There are just so many different potato chip things. That's one thing I remember. You go to the grocery store and you would see a snack aisle. Every grocery store has a snack aisle, but now it's mostly Lay's and the companies that Lay's owns that you just don't realize that they own them. Now Lay's, like I said, they're getting better. They have their kettle cooked chips, which are pretty good and stuff. But those homegrown potato chips are just fantastic. That does come across a little snooty, and I don't mean it to be that way. That's the one thing that when I go buy them at the grocery store, I sit there and I'm just a little sad. Now, I have seen Hers and Utz have both managed to breach that and go a little bit more nationwide. But there's some of those smaller companies. There's just so many of them. And yeah, they have so many cool potato chips and snacks in Pennsylvania. Am I going to review On Mars? I don't think so. I don't normally play Lacerda games very often, and we didn't get a review copy of On Mars. I have a copy that I got for the library. eGriffin does not send us review copies of games, usually. So I may or may not review them. I'm actually reviewing one this week, Rococo, the deluxe version I'll be talking about. But in fact, Kanban, I just put on the pile of games that won't get reviewed, but it is going to go into the Dice Tower library. What was my best thrift store board game find? I think Hero Quest. I found a set of Hero Quest one time in pretty good condition for like $2. When is the Dice Tower Kickstarter campaign going live? Last week. It's live right now. You can find it at dicetowerkickstarter.com. Did we hit that stretch goal yet? No. So it probably won't happen live at this point. Is the Myth board game still in your library? No. If so, have you revisited it since they've released updated materials? No. And are you still interested concerning Ulysses' acquisition of it? I don't know anything about what you just talked about. Did someone acquire Myth from the company? I know that company was having some problems, and I didn't really follow what was going on there. So maybe it's been gotten by somebody else. Did you see there was an 18,000 person cheerleading competition in Indianapolis this past weekend? If there's one competition I'm not following, it's cheerleading competitions. I think they're probably better than, say, beauty pageants, but I'm just not as interested in them. I'll be on your show, Nick says. All you have to do is ask. Oh, you would not, well, you probably would. The number of people who have offered to do top 10s with us is quite high. And I always feel bad about that, but we try to pick from a diverse cast. We want to pick people who are very knowledgeable. We also want to pick people who are going to be interesting for people to watch. And also people that we think will click with, because the interplay and the back and forth is pretty important. The best food I've eaten this year? Oh, that Kringle. I'm not kidding. That Kringle was amazing. I keep talking about it. Maybe that was last year. This year, did I eat the Kringle this year? I feel like I ate it this year. Maybe not. Maybe it was last year. Well, then I had some Jenny's ice cream this year. Oh, and yesterday, had some Indian. Good stuff. Could Eric Summer be a top 10 guest? He certainly could. What microphone are you using? Is it direct, or are there any effects applied to clean it up? No, it's direct. It's the same one I use for my videos. We're running it through a thing called Cam Link, which runs straight to my thing and then attaches to the computer. It's a pretty nice little setup. Is there a point you feel that a game has too many components? Yes. If so, do you have an example? My example would be the new Anachrony. So I got that box, the new Anachrony box. It's fantastic. I had said to my daughters, here, sort this out. Here's my old game of Anachrony with the original expansion. Here's the new stuff, the new expansion. It took them all day. And I was coming in all the time and being like, oh, okay, this is where I think this goes. I was getting confused as to where things went. And I looked at it when it was done. I was thinking, I don't know that I ever want to open this up and pull it out and play it. I like Anachrony. I like Anachrony a lot. But I'm not super pumped about playing it with the new expansion in that new box. It feels like there's too much at that point. I know that people are loving these gigantic boxes full of tons of stuff. And I like big, grandiose games. But there comes a point where it's wearying to set the game up. I just want to sometimes pull out a game and play it. I don't mind games that have 10, 15 minutes of setup. 30 to an hour of setup, that's more problematic. Of all the main Dice Tower reviewers, who do you tend to disagree with more often on board game ratings? Not anybody really right now. Because while me and Roy definitely sync up on some stuff, me and Mike sync up on other things, and me and Z like some others. I feel like I have a different slice of my gaming with each one of them. And then when we bring in the other reviewers, me and Brian sync up a lot. Maybe Liz, just because she likes a very different style of game than I like. But she and I also like a lot of the same stuff. Jason Perez and I like the games. Maybe Ambi, because she likes all the 18XX stuff. But I don't know that I would disagree with them. It's just not my style, maybe. Did you consider using the new add-on feature in your Kickstarter this year? Well, I went to set it up, and you have to sign up with Kickstarter to even use it. It's mind-boggling to me that this is still a beta feature on Kickstarter. It should be something that's there available for everybody to use. And you had to sign up to use it, and I was like, well, whatever. I don't got time for that. We got to set up the Kickstarter. Do you play any instruments? I play the piano, not particularly well. It's been a while, but actually yesterday, I was sitting around practicing it, and I found a nice little program on the iPad, and I was thinking about using it to help my kids learn to play the keyboard. So I might do that. And I was just playing myself. I was just picking different songs. Very, very eclectic mix. I went from playing Benny and the Jets to Baby Shark, and then I played the Rocky theme song. It was just some weird mix of music. Why is the Scooby-Doo Come On Kickstarter $80? Because miniatures, painted miniatures, intellectual property. That's why. Can't beat Grandma Utz's ham Cooked barbecue chips. Those are very good, yes. Do you still have the Resistance Avalon in the review video? You said you might not keep it. Actually, I put the Resistance and the Resistance Avalon in the same box, so I've kept them both. You should have a level on the Kickstarter sponsor marbles in the races. That might happen in the future, but right now it's just very simple to sponsor marble. Just send one in. We have another new 20 marbles joining the race tomorrow. So, and folks, our new marble ramp that is being custom built for us is so awesome. I am so pumped about it. There's Charles Chips in Clearwater. Oh, man, that's still too far away. Best chips are the Gibbles Red Hot flavor. Oh, I do like those too. They used to sell them at Publix, but they disappeared for some reason. Yeah, man, sorry for all those who came in and talked about board games and we're talking about chips. What's the longest you've waited for a game to arrive? Are we talking Kickstarter? I don't know, years probably. The longest Kickstarters that I think that I have out at this point in time, well, Blood on the Clock Tower has been out for a while. And what's the zombie one? Where you're sitting there and the zombies are running in and you're shooting them. Why is this name? The Masquerade in Venice. Oh, why is that one slipping my mind? I can't remember the name of it. That one's been a long time. Do you use a sorting website for ranking my top board games? No, I don't. I sort them out with cards. I do it manually. The new box makes Anachrony so much faster to set up and easier to play. Well, maybe it will, and maybe that's the case, but it doesn't look like that. And sorting that box out was heinous. I really disliked that more than almost anything else of sorting that box out. It was just so much into it. Also, the box is gigantic and massive, and crating it around, I don't know. It's so weird. I used to want more. Now I kind of like, can it fit inside a Ticket to Ride box? That'd be awesome, please. I love these questions. In suburbia, do you think the PR department casino is overpowered and breaks the game? I don't know. Does the light cavalry and war chest need to be reduced to 4 units instead of 5 for being overpowered? I don't know. Guys, I'm just not fantastic. I backed a Kickstarter and clues for the Iron Rook. The Iron Rook is just a monster for King of Tokyo. You can go look it up online. It's on Board Game Geek. It's already been in existence. There are no power cards for it. I would like to have power cards. We actually designed some, but they didn't make them for it. But yeah, it's just a fun little monster to use as a replacement monster. Don't lose your marbles. I am being very cautious with these marbles. It's amusing the amount of effort I'm putting into the marbles. I have these cases of marbles. They each hold 24 marbles, I think. Is it 24? That sounds right. I have 4 cases now. We have just shy of 96 marbles. So we'll see. I don't know how we'll handle it. I mean, that's of the racing marbles. Of non-racing marbles, I got another couple hundred of those. But that's okay. It's going to be intriguing to see how this goes through. How's board gaming in 2021 looking? Fantastic. It looks great every year. Has any of Brian Drake's Magic ever really wowed you? Oh, yeah, but I'm easily wowed by Magic. And I don't mean that I mean, Brian always does cool stuff. I'm just always impressed with what he can do. I like his tricks. Carnival Zombie. Thank you. Yes, I don't know why that name. Carnival Zombie has been out for a while. I'll be happy to pay my pledge in goods, Utz, hers, and Middleswarth if you like. Well, as much as I might like that, I think that my employees might be a little upset if I'm like, well, bag of chips for each of you instead of paying you. I just had an interview for a job. What does the interviews look like to join the Dice Tower team? Well, I normally send out a initial email to people who are interested, trying to scare them off, because I think a lot of people expect something very different when they come here to the Dice Tower. I think it's a great place. I love working here, but it's going to be different than what you think. There's a lot of grunt work behind the scenes. I got a lot of work to do today. I have a lot of things to do still when we're done with this video here. And not all of it's necessarily pleasant. It's just like another job. And people, I think it's glamorous when we play games all the time. There's going to be stress that comes with a job. You know, you're going to have people on the internet. I just read a Facebook thread yesterday talking about why the Dice Tower doesn't deserve to get our Kickstarter money. And that's the sort of thing that you deal with all the time. And you'll have people in the board game industry who don't like us. We said their game was negative, and invariably it's because we played the game wrong, or we didn't give it a fair shake or whatever. And that stuff gets to you after a while. So my main thing is I want someone who's going to work hard and someone who's going to get along with the team. And then I narrow it down to, a certain number of people, and I just have to pick the best of them. I usually have a very good cast of people to pick from. In fact, even this past time, there was several really good candidates. And I just finally picked the one I thought fit the best, but I could have easily picked someone else too, so we're very fortunate in that regard. And the last hire, we have Mike is still with us, and it's fantastic. It's Mike, Roy, me, Kenny, now Chris, Z, Lindsay, who's our marketing manager, Sharon, who runs Dice Tower East. We got Eric doing the podcast, and Mandy and Suzanne, and then Rob doing our website, and then a variety of reviewers. The number of people connected to the Dice Tower in various ways it's immense, to the point where sometimes I'm having trouble to keep track of it. And then, that Kickstarter helps spread out in that regard, and people, people see that, like last year we made $300,000. Like, wow, Tom made that much money. Oh no, I did not. There's a lot of costs and stuff in running the Dice Tower. So that's one of the things, I bring when I interview people, like, hey, this is how this is going to work. So that being said, I would love to hit the next stretch goal. We're just a couple $100 away. Maybe that will happen soon enough. But I do need to end here. I went a little bit longer because we had that internet downtime there in the middle, and I apologize about that. But I do appreciate each and every one of you for coming on board and watching and sticking with it. For those of you watching later, I hope you have a fantastic day. I got some reviews to do. I'm holding some poker chips right now from a game I'm about to review. We got reviews going up tomorrow, and so there's lots of cool stuff coming. I hope your way, and thank you all. So until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching the Dice Tower. Oh, and I still have not put that new video in there for ending. So we're just going to end with a snap of my fingers. Did that work?